we are at lesson 28 of Doodling with Purpose, our step-by-step guide to learning hieroglyphics. And we're going to dive right in to 3 new glyphs this week so you could keep learning the language and, in your spare time when you're sitting in a meeting or sitting at home and just doodling on a piece of paper. You're not just doodling anything, but, well, that's why we call this series Doodling with Purpose, because every spare minute that you're just doodling on a piece of paper, you can be practicing your glyphs and feeling like you're actually accomplishing something. That's kind of what the whole thing means. All right, as usual, time for review. Let's look at the 3 glyphs from last week. So first we did the basket, which is just a line and a half circle. Then we did the staff with a circle and 3 triangles around it, and then the stick down. And then we have the guinea fowl up. We'll do a little tail there, leg, connected, head, beak, give him a little crown, and a little neck flourish, and something to stand on. And that's the guinea fowl. All right, this week, no more birds for this week. We will get to more birds. There always seems to be birds, but we're going to do a tool right now. We're going to do a butcher's knife. So, it basically kind of looks like this, but propped upward. This is actually a picture of an ancient Egyptian butcher's knife. And obviously, with all the sacrificing and, the fact that they actually had to eat, butchering was a big deal. And this is going to make the sound num. And I always think of it as num, like num, 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 num. Where have you heard that before? Not only does it sound like a butcher knife striking, but it sounds like Cookie Monster. That's, for some reason, how I remember it. It's num, 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 num. All right, NM. What are you going to do? I have the ways I remember them. You can have the ways you do. Butcher's knife is pretty easy. You're going to start with a half square, then up and connect. All right, so again, you're going to do a square, back up, big line up, and then do a curve to connect. Start with a square going straight up, and then a curved line to connect. And that's the butcher's knife. All right, next up we have a rush, not this rush, this kind of rush, which is a plant that grows all over the place in the Nile. It's kind of a weed, but it's all over the place. And as we've said many times, hieroglyphics were all about what was in and around for the ancient Egyptian. If you visit Egypt, you kind of start to see this. So the rush looks like this, but we're actually going to draw it upside down. We're going to flip this around so that you're drawing this part at the bottom. So it kind of looks like this, where you see sort of the base there curving out, and then a long stalk at the top, which is then going to make a curve at the very top. That is the rush root. And this is the n, 2 N's. It's like a double N, because, one N wasn't good enough. All right, so curve down, and then make a V. But it's actually 2. So curve down and V, and that is the rush shoots, 2 of them. So again, curve down with a V, curve down with a V, and those are your rush shoots. It's 2 rush shoots next to each other. Curve down and a V. Curve down and a V. You get a pair of rush shoots to be an N. All right, last up for this week is we are going to do a tongue, actually a ox tongue, which I know is a delicacy, but I'm not going to show the food because, it grosses me out, okay, the idea of eating tongue. I'm sorry, but, we're dealing with an ox tongue, like an ox sticking its tongue out. So we're going to go with this image instead of showing a picture of the delicacy. How about that? Either way, it makes the NS sound. Nus, nus is the sound of the ox tongue. This one's a little tricky because it's got some odd curved lines, but after practicing it, you'll be able to get it. So you start with a curved line down and then a squiggle. So curved line down and kind of a squiggle. Again, curved line down and a squiggle. Practice that a lot. And you'll be able to read hieroglyphics. We're like definitely more than halfway through the double consonants at this point. And the triple consonants are very short. So, it's tough, but we're learning and keep practicing. Join me back here next week for 3 more, and we'll continue doodling with purpose, learning your step-by-step guide to drawing and writing ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs.